I know I've spoken before about getting out of your car, how it can save your life, and how it absolutely saved mine, parking the car. Almost 4 years ago now, I was 295 pounds. Parked the car at the end of the year, I was down to about 255, 260 maybe. End of the second year, I was down to 235. By the end of the third year, 220. I've recently quit smoking about 4 months ago, so I'm probably back up to about 235, 240 from quitting smoking. But I'm back to riding my bike again, still not driving. So now I'm 235, not smoking, riding my bike. I've lengthened my life by dropping all the weight and getting myself to a position where I could quit smoking without gaining too much of the weight back. So, yeah, it's just, mentally speaking, I'm a lot better not driving. I ride the bus, I get some reading in, I get some thinking in, I get some plotting in, I look out the windows and see the neighborhoods as opposed to watching the cars in the next lane, which aren't very interesting otherwise, but you've got to watch all these cars while you're driving. You don't get to see the mural or the ads in the windows or the new business that opened or the place that's closed. The place that you just realize, holy crap, man, that place closed. I didn't realize that place had closed. You see that stuff when you're riding the bus. You see the people on the street. You see the people living on the street. You stand out at the bus stop and you actually talk to people. Or just listen to people. Sometimes just hearing what people are saying is just as good as being involved in a conversation. People isn't what you want to do. You may have the people to listen, not really. But, psychologically, not having to worry about driving. I mean, driving's hard. Driving is not easy. It's ridiculous how we all just assume we're all good drivers. I assure you that is not the case. Most of us shouldn't be driving for a profession. Okay? Most of us should not be professional drivers. Right? I think we can agree that, like any other skill, only some people are going to be really proficient at it, and, a lot of people are going to be just average at it. There's going to be a high percentage of people that just can't do it at all. I'm not a unicycle rider. I'm not a great skateboarder. I could not skateboard for a living. I could probably ride a bicycle for a living, but I couldn't skateboard, couldn't hang glide for a living. But yet we all just figure at the age of 16 we are good enough drivers to be driving professionally. Because that's what, if you really want to break it down, when you contract yourself to take yourself to a job where you make the money that allows you to live the life you have, you are driving professionally. You are taking a wage earner to their place of wage earning and then returning that wage earner to their place of living in between. And you're not getting paid. Nobody's paying you to do that. Why isn't the employer paying for you to get to the place where he needs you to make that money? Because you make X amount of dollars at the end of it. That's true. You make your wage. But your employer is making a hell of a lot more than your wage. Okay. If he wasn't, he'd be paying you less wage. Trust me. You're being underpaid. And they're being overcompensated. And to me, what that should mean is that they ought to cover the cost of getting you to where they want you to do the work. Okay, they saved all this money putting the factory out in bumfuck VFE, so then they need to give you a fucking allowance to get out there. It would be more expensive to build a factory where the people live. Yeah, because then it wouldn't be expensive for them to get there. They could just walk. But you want to save all this money on taxes and infrastructure and this, that, and the other thing, build your factory out in the middle of farmland, where now only people that have cars can actually take the job. Well, that's silly. That's ridiculous. And honestly, I mean, if you're not paying me for my commuting time, then I better be making enough money to make it worth my while to commute. Okay? See, this is what a lot of people don't do. They don't figure in travel time to what they're actually making at their job. Okay? If I'm making, $10 an hour, but I'm having to travel an hour and a half to get there and an hour and a half back, then I'm getting $10 an hour for 8 hours, but I'm dedicating 11 hours to that job, which means I'm not getting $10 an hour. Not anymore. Okay? That $80 is being, it's costing me 11 hours of time. Whether I'm getting paid for all that time or not, it's costing me 11 hours of my time. Now, what if I could get paid $9 an hour, or even $8 an hour for a job that only took me 10 minutes to get there? Oh, well, now I'm only getting $64, but I'm only a third of an hour in travel time. And that extra 2 hours to do what you want to do, as opposed to what an employer wants you to do. You're driving for those 3 hours. Are you literally going to drive for those 3 fucking hours? Professionally, making sure you don't hit other vehicles and you don't break any laws, and you take care of the maintenance of the vehicle, and you're taking on all these expenditures and responsibilities. That's a job, man. It's a whole nother job just to get you to your job, and no one's paying you for that job. So you got to factor that in, man. If you can make 50 cents an hour, less, but travel 30 minutes instead of 2 hours, well, fuck that extra change. And that extra 2 hours is time you get to do what you want to do. Maybe in those 2 hours you can do a hobby at home that makes you $25 for those 2 hours instead of $10 an hour. Or maybe you make $30 for a craft you make, and it takes you only an hour to make it. The other hour you just take a fucking nap. But yeah, the whole, the idea that we're not being compensated for the commute is ridiculous, okay? Because you're not going to compensate us for the commute, then quit requiring a commute. Build us housing where you want us to come to work. Or pay for the commute to get us out there. Okay? Seriously, we're getting on to autonomous vehicles now, because again, I don't want to pay attention to the road. I want to read a fucking book. I want to catch up on my fucking newsnicking. I want to listen to a fucking podcast. Hell, I want to watch some porn on the way to work. I don't know. I don't want to be functionally freaking out over the way other people are driving and how they're going to affect me for the commute. It's dumb. Traveling, commuting for any sort of distance at all is dumb to begin with. But to have to actually drive for that hour and be responsible for that commute as well while not being compensated, that's dumb. That's just dumb, and I try not to do dumb things. So I ride the bus, and I bring a book, or I bring a reading device, or I sit on my phone and I edit a video, or I listen to music, or again, read, research, check some emails, do some paperwork, anything but stare at cars, license plates, and other cars to make sure none of those other cars are going to run into my car. And it's going to cost me even more money. Or worried about checking to make sure, oh God, do I have enough gas? So I got to pull over and get gas. None of that. No. Long enough bus trip? Fuck you. I can take a nap. So, anyhow, I guess this is another little pet peeve out here from Barbary Al out here on the giving you that left coast lean. Get out of the car, man. It'll save your life.